It is do or die Sunday right here at the Big Dome, the Araneta Coliseum at early as 2 p.m. Hordes of basketball fans lining up outside the stadium to get inside and find out which teams will advance to the semis. Will it be in the first game, the B-Meg Derby Ace Llamados, James Yap and company, or is it going to be the rivals in this series? We are, of course, talking about Coach Kaloy Garcia and the Rain or Shine Elasto Painters. Yes, it is a PBA Sunday as PBA serves up a double offering of Game 5 quarterfinals action. First game, Rain or Shine Elasto Painters taking on the B-Meg Derby Ace Llamados. And later on in our second game, we will be having the Alaska Aces taking on the Barangay Ginebra Kings. My name is Leah Cruz, coming to you from courtside at the Big Dome, live over Solar TV, and I will be taking care of things on the end of the Rain or Shine Elasto Painters. At the other side of the court, taking care of things with B-Meg Derby Ace Llamados, we have the Roofinator, Mr. Gino Rufino.
Thank you, Miss Leah Cruz, the Crucifier. Of course, I'm Gino Rufino, as she said, taking care of the B-Meg Llamados. Now, let's take a look at the past 4 games in the season recap. In Game 1, we had B-Meg 108 against Rain or Shine's 102. James Yap exploding for 31 points, and PJ Simon with a crucial 3-pointer in the 4th quarter. Game 2, we had Rain or Shine in a very defensive-oriented game, beating B-Meg at their own game, 79-69. And Game 3, we have Rain or Shine in a nail-biter win against B-Meg in overtime. Solomon Mercado, 1 rebound away from a triple-double in Game number 3. Game number 4, 30 hours less than 30 hours upon his arrival in the Philippines. Tony Washam, the new import of B-Meg Derby Ace Llamados, came through big with 29 points and 13 rebounds. That leads us to today. A winner-take-all Game 5 for the right to enter the semifinal for a date with the San Miguel Beermen. Who moves on? Let's find out.
2 teams.
Solomon Mercado is having a magical game. Here's Meyerhofer. Oh, what a block by Norwood!
Battling for 1 goal. No time to waste.
They've been playing for such a long time, and for us, even if with 1 leg, we will definitely play for as long as to keep our spirits alive.
Tonight, the quarterfinals, Game 5. The battle for lives.
Today, the Araneta Coliseum is the center of the universe, and over the next couple of hours together, we will witness 4 of the hungriest PBA teams and how their fates will be decided by the depth of their skills, the strength of their will, and the size of their hearts. Basketball addicts of the Philippines, welcome to Do or Die PBA Sunday, live on Solar TV. It's the final day of the quarterfinals. Vito Lasatin here along with Alex Compton. And Alex, Rain or Shine, it was a convincing win, first of all, for B-Meg Derby Ace in game number 4. Now, you'll see here, Rain or Shine, of the 4 quarterfinalists, they're the ones that had to go through the most coming out of the wildcard phase. You think that maybe stress and fatigue are starting to come into play here?
Well, it's always a possibility, you know. They have come through a lot. They had to play Ginebra in that knockout game for the outright quarterfinal slot, then go through the wild card again to get here. But as James Yap himself said last conference, during his team's title run, it's the playoffs. There's no time to be tired.
Well, heading into Game 4, we talked about how the Rain or Shine Elasto Painters threw B-Meg Derby Ace off their game, particularly on the defensive end. That was not the story in Game number 4.
Well, exactly opposite. Only 13 points in the first quarter of Game 1. 29 points first half for Rain or Shine. Tremendous defense employed by B-Meg. Again, their hallmark, their trademark, the thing that carried them to the title last conference, that had them with a shot for an outright semifinals berth this conference. Defense was the name of the game in Game 4.
And rebounding also played a big role in that one, where B-Meg out-rebounded Derby Ace 64-42, and out of those 64, you can count 30 amazing offensive rebounds. Now, we'll talk about the lack of production of Rain or Shine a little later on, but let's talk about the brilliant performances that we saw in game number 4 for B-Meg Derby Ace, led by Roger Yap.
Well, Roger Yap is just really having a great year, not just a conference, a great year. A key factor in his team's championship run last conference, and maybe it's the competitive drive of Roger coming up, responding to the tremendous game of Solomon Mercado in Game 3. Saul leading his team to the victory in Game 3 with almost a triple-double. Roger coming back, putting up huge numbers himself, 13 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and what was really important is Roger was aggressive early, attacking the basket and setting his teammates up.
Well, throughout this series, you've never really been able to predict who would step up, who would not show up. In fact, probably the only thing consistent about this series are these statistics. These have by far determined the winner in this series.
Well, our first 3 categories really are offensive categories, shooting the ball. What you could say is whoever shoots the ball better is going to end up winning. However, you could also say whoever plays better defense, because it's both sides. Who
right.
led the defensive charge in those games? Assists, obviously, an early important factor, but also who's leading after the first quarter and who's leading after the first half. No team has come back after a first quarter deficit to win a game in this series.
In game number 4, B-Meg Derby Ace played brilliant lockdown defense. Who lacked in production? Well, part of the perils of being a star of a team is that you're the first people that they look at when they talk about lack of production. And in the case of Rain or Shine, that in fact was true. Not just for one of their stars, but for both of their stars. It was a double day off for the Norwood and Mercado combination. Not quite the numbers we expect from them.
Well, really the 2 leaders of this team having a tremendous series. Then come game 4, B-Meg just put the clamps on them, locked them down. Those guys combining for only 14 points. And if you notice, throughout all 3 of those statistical categories and 4 from Norwood, none of them were lived up to in game 4 by Norwood or Mercado. So let's see what we have in store in game 5.
Only other local for the Rain or Shine side that did score in double digits was Jeff Chan. So he's the third player, third star, you could say, that we'll be definitely keeping a close eye on. Now we head to the court for the introduction of our starting lineup.
PBA Fiesta Conference. It is game number 5 of the quarterfinals between the Rain or Shine, the Elasto Painters, and the B-Meg Derby Ace Llamados. And now, please welcome the starting lineup of your Rain or Shine Elasto Painters. At point guard, number 3, Sol Mercado. At shooting guard, number 10, Gabe Norwood. At center, number 34, Rod Neely. At small forward, number 65, Andy Lowry. And at power forward, number 41, Michael Rayback. Head coach of the Elasto Painters is Kaloy Garcia. And now, here is the starting lineup of your B-Meg Derby Ace Llamados. At guard, number 13, Roger Yap. At shooting guard, number 18, James Yap. At center, number 4, Rafi Rivas. At small forward, number 1, Rico Mehrhofer. And at power forward, number 14, Tony Washam. Head coach of the Llamados is Ryan Gregorio. The referees for this contest are Noel Gillingan, Peter Balau, and Nestor Zambrano.
Tony Washam playing only his second PBA game. He arrived only 4 days ago, just the day before game number 5, and performed beautifully with 29 points and 13 rebounds. Rain or Shine forced to make the adjustment. Here's the big development. J.R. Reyes, because of that flagrant foul 1 in game number 4, will not be playing today. He's suspended, and that opens the door for Mike Rayback to start for Rain or Shine.
Mike Rayback, a veteran, a shooter, and if you notice the mixture here, all of these guys are scorers who mix well with Mercado and Norwood. Eddie Lowry, Mike Rayback, and Rod Neely, obviously a good ability to shoot the ball from the outside.
Game and first blood drawn by B-Meg Derby Ace, courtesy of Rafi Rivas.
Rafi Rivas attacking early with a nice post work and finish with the left hand, something you don't often see. Rivas attacking the basket in the offense with the ball.
Well, the B-Meg Derby Ace big men have to be pumped up after the kind of performance as the Painters, and you could really credit that to 3 big men. You've got Rod Neely, and then you've got the amazing performance of Rafi Rivas and Rico Mehrhofer.
Mehrhofer, Rivas, Washam, those guys played great in game 4 and dominated the glass early on.
Perimeter jumper by Roger Yap is no good. Earlier, Eddie Lowry scored the first basket of the ball game for Rain or Shine. Now in comes Norwood, out to Rayback for 3. 3-ball is good.
Well, Mike Rayback, I think, will be a really key factor. Again, he's a veteran. He's a great shooter from the outside, and he's a solid post defender inside. So let's see how Rayback plays out in the absence of J.R. Reyes early.
And Eddie Lowry caught with his hand in the cookie jar. He will pick up his first personal 13 rebounds, Meyerhofer with 14, and Rivas with 12.
Yeah, and the offensive rebounds for B-Meg going to be a big factor in this game as well.
James Yap nails his first three. Yap, who shot 2 of 11 in game number 4, gets